Day 2 of the NFL draft is in the books, and I want to give you my grades for both selections the Browns made in round 2 and in round 3. But let's start things off with Michael Hall, the defensive tackle out of Ohio State, who I'm going to give a C-plus grade to. Both of the picks the Browns made were not for the betterment of the 2024 Browns. So don't be frustrated or concerned if you don't see a lot from them this year at all. I think both of these picks were with 2025 in mind. But still, I'm not super high on Mike Hall. There are some things to like about his game. Extremely athletic for being nearly 300 pounds. And he's also 20 years old. So Andrew Berry may try and tell us he doesn't have a type and it's a case-by-case scenario. But there's a pattern here. He likes him young and he likes him fast. And that is Michael Hall. Now, the inconsistency is real. 24 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks last year. Kind of a step back from his previous season at Ohio State. The injuries have always just been a dark cloud surrounding Hall. It's really limited his ability to play a lot of football week in and week out. But if Hall's able to get healthy and stay healthy, this could be a pick the Browns look back at and go, wow, what an absolute gem in round number 2. The pass rushing upside is there. Jim Schwartz is always looking for interior defensive linemen who can get after the quarterback. And Michael Hall, do not compare to Siaka Ika. Ika last year out of Baylor was a tree stump in the middle of the defensive line. Hall has some twitch. That's a good buzzword. He's got some get to his game. He's got some burst, and he's able to explode off the line of scrimmage, and he's got very adequate to above average strength as well. It's the inconsistency week in and week out and the injuries that concern me surrounding Michael Hall, which is why I was not super high on him to begin with. Now, what is your one-word reaction to this pick? For me, it would be something like Barry, because this is the most Andrew Barry pick I've ever seen. He gets like the youngest guy in the draft. He's not even 21 years old yet, and he's one of the most athletic players. Now, he's more of an Andrew Barry type DT than maybe a Jim Schwartz type DT, sub 300 pounds. So I don't think he'll ever be one of the best true run-stopping defensive tackles. He primarily played 3 technique at Ohio State. But Buckeyes fans, I'm sure you guys can elaborate a lot more in the comments section after watching him every week. There are some highs, but there are some lows. But the Browns, they're not really in a spot where they need to hit on a draft pick for 2024. So they can gamble on a guy with a really high ceiling that may kind of redshirt their freshman year, which the Browns did with a lot of their draft picks last year. Part of that may have been that they were a little bit underwhelming, like Siaka Ika, Isaiah McGuire, Luke Whippler. But I think the bigger part is this is a roster that's loaded. And the draft, the Browns just use it as like house money. If they can find some good players, sweet. If not, they're not banking on the draft to fill out their roster. Now, here's what Dane Brugler had to say about Mike Hall. Hall was more of a flash player than consistent force, but his quick twitch movements and natural energy are the ingredients of a disruptive gap penetrator. So I give it a, what I say, C plus grade, C grade-ish, somewhere in that range, C plus grade, because I think there are some really good elements to Michael Hall's game, but I'm not 100% convinced that he's going to wake up one night and just realize his full potential and maximize on it. We've definitely seen some players maybe not live up to the athletic billing. Wink, wink, Anthony Schwartz. Now, I really want to plug, by the way, we'll be live here on the channel for day 3 of the 2024 NFL Draft. So come hang out with us if you want pick-by-pick analysis. We'll get in the weeds, but we'll still have some fun as well. So I'll, of course, be breaking down every single pick the Browns make. But if you see this thumbnail tomorrow, be like Mike Dibble. Click on it and come hang out with us here at Chat Sports. Now we're going to look at their second draft pick, Zak Zinter, who, by the way, has an eerie relationship with the first draft pick, Mike Hall, in just a second. But first, I want to shout out our wonderful sponsor today, which is Mando. We got warm weather now, which means you may be walking to work, walking to school, and you don't want to be the stinky guy with BO at the office. With Mando, you can kick that odor to the curb. Mando's also giving the Dawg Pound an awesome deal with $5 off their starter pack. That's going to include a lot of great stuff like cream tube deodorant, whole stick deodorant, wipes, free shipping, and more. So make sure you go to shopmando.com and enter promo code CHATIN, and you're going to get $5 off their starter pack, which is filled with so many great types of odor relieving tools and resources, we'll say. So make sure you visit shopmando.com, MANDO, and use that code CHAT for $5 off their starter pack. That equates, by the way, to over 40% off. It's perfect for new users, and I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. So shout out to Mando for supporting us here at Chat Sports. Now let's switch gears and talk about the Browns' second draft pick tonight, which was Michigan right guard Zak Zinter. I'm a big fan of this selection. I had been forecasting a pick like this for months on the channel, prepping you guys for the reality of 2025 is right around the corner. GMs like to draft thinking a year down the line, and Joel Petonio and Wyatt Teller are going to be 1 year older and a very expensive tandem guard. So to me, I'm not blown away that the Browns went out and got a potential replacement, which is why I'll give Zinter a B grade. We're likely not going to see much of him in 2024. I believe Andrew Berry said at his press conference that they expect him to be ready for the season. Now, be ready is because he suffered a very gruesome leg fracture in the Ohio State-Michigan game, and this is where we may have to have like a whole group watch the movie Miracle setting, because Mike Hall was the guy that was shoved into Zak Zinter, which resulted in a fractured leg, immediate surgery. He was the team captain, the heart and soul of that Michigan offensive line. And I don't know if there's maybe a little bit of, Boston University and University of Minnesota bad blood like in 1979. But if so, hopefully they can get past it, because I think Zinter could be a really special guard for the Browns. You can look at his PFF grades and whatnot. He was a 4-year starter for the Wolverines. He doesn't jump out athletically. He doesn't necessarily have like a highlight reel like Quentin Nelson did coming out, where it's just going to be pancake after pancake after pancake. But the guy is fast, mean, violent, and physical. And if Brian Callahan was here, I'm sure he would love the pick. But nevertheless, the Browns, like the Michael Hall pick, they could have gone maybe linebacker or running back, and that position would have provided a bigger impact for 2024. But this could be a spot where the Browns look back and go, maybe we should have gone for an opportunity to improve the 2024 roster. But both of these picks, to me, were for the 2025 Cleveland Browns. Now, how would you grade these selections? A, B, C, D, or F? Let me know in the comment section below what letter grade you would give both the selections the Browns have made so far. To me, I would grade their draft at like B- to C+, and that's probably on the generous side. And it's not me saying the Browns have done a bad job. It's me recognizing the Browns can't get an A, and like the Bears who took Rome Odunze and Caleb Williams also get an A. They're very different drafts. So for the Browns to not pick until 54 and 85, they weren't dealt a very good hand. They were dealt like off-colored suit 2 and 6. And they've done a pretty good job so far. But for me, I never had high expectations for them in this draft. The Browns have gone with a best player available approach. They're not reaching for positional needs. Now, they still have some picks, of course, for day 3 of the NFL draft. Here are our best players available according to our draft expert, Tom Downey. How many of you wanted Troy Franklin at 54? Show of hands. Well, you could still get him maybe in round 3, so keep an eye on that name. Jalen Wright, another player I would love to see the Browns select. He's number 3 on our big board. A little surprised that TJ Tampa is still available, but I think that speaks to the quality in the cornerbacks in this draft. Some other players that are still on the board, Tez Walker, Javon Baker. If you're looking for a wide receiver, those are 2 names to keep an eye on. Jeremiah Trotter, for those of you like myself looking to bring a little bit of competition into the linebacker room. Screw the Packers for taking Edgerrin Cooper. That would have been an awesome pick in my eyes. But After 2 picks in the NFL draft, I give Zak Zinter a B grade, and I'm giving Michael Hall a C to C plus type of grade. I know other people are more high on him. For me, it's not like my preferred choice at 54, but we're ultimately not going to have a fair grade for either of these guys. Probably not until legitimately 2026. I don't think we'll see much of them at all in 2024 unless a bunch of injuries pop up. And then in 2025, they may have a large role depending on how they looked in practice. They may not. But you have to be patient with both of these picks. Both guys a little bit on the younger side, more so Hall than Zinter. But I still think there's a really good opportunity for them to eventually grow into a big role on this team. It's just not going to be this year.